start it over. Okay, now we're going to finish. Starting with number 65. We have 5/8 plus x equals 7/8. So 5/8 plus what is 7/8? You already know in your head, huh? Well, you already know it's 2/8, right? 5/8 plus 2/8 is 7/8. But to show your work, you would subtract 5/8 from both sides. 7/8 minus 5/8 is 2/8, which is 1/4. Yeah, we need to simplify. Divided by 2 is 1/4. So 2/8 is 1/4. Simplified, not 2/8. Don't leave it 2/8. Okay, 66. 3/4 plus what is 4/5? That one's not quite as simple, is it? Okay, we have 3/4 plus what is 4/5? Okay, the same way we did the last one, we're going to subtract this. So the y by itself, subtract it from both sides. Y equals, what do we need here?
Common denominator.
Common denominator. Okay, 5 and 4, 20 is our denominator. 4 was times 5. The 5 is times 4. So we got 15 here, 16. So we have 16 minus 15. 1/20. That won't reduce. So our y is 1/20. Okay, Annie is packing for her trip to Hawaii. Her suitcase measures this by this by this. Convert these numbers to fraction notation. It's asking you to convert them to improper. Remember how you do that where you multiply and then add the top? So 27 and 2/3, you're going to do 3 times 27. If you have to, write it down there. 3 times 7 is 21. 6, 7 is 81. Plus 2 is 83/3. Then we have 17 and 1/4. 4 times 17. Okay, 4 times 7 is 28. So that's 68. 68 plus 1? 69 fourths. And then we have 8 and 2/5. 5 times 8, 40 plus 2, 42 fifths. See, the bottom 3, 4, and 5 are still 3, 4, and 5. The bottom didn't change. Okay, so we have 83/3, 69/4, and 42/5. Should read that one right there. Convert to fraction notation. What's it wanting you to do here?
You do the same at the top.
Same thing we just did.
Yeah. Multiply the next.
5 times 7, 35 plus 2 is 37. 5 stays on the bottom. 37/5. Okay. Again, 7 times 7 is 49 plus 3 52 sevenths. That's D. Okay, convert to a mixed number. So we're going backwards from this to this. From our improper to our mixed number. From improper, so how do we do this?
3 divided into 50.
Right, 50 divided by 3.
We'll go to 5, 1,
1,
2 left over, and then we put 16 and 2 left over.
6, yeah. 6 times 3 is 18, 2 left over. Okay, the 2 left over, the 2 goes on top,
And then
3 on bottom. Okay, this had a 3, it still has a 3 on the bottom. 16 and 2/3. Okay, 12/5. This top number goes under the division. We're dividing by 5. 12 divided by 5.
2 twice. There's 2 left over.
It's 10, 2 left over. Left over goes on top, 5 is still on the bottom. 2 and 2/5. Okay, divide. Same thing that we did up here. 752 divided by 6. 752 divided by 6. Okay, 1 times 6. Subtract that. Bring the 5 down.
We're going to it twice.
6 into 15 is twice. 2 times 6.
Or 3 left over.
Yes, 12. 3 left over.
And we went to it 5 times.
Bring down the 2. 5 times 6 is 30.
2 left over.
With 2 left over. The leftover goes on top.
No, it's 2 over 6.
Oh, sorry. Leftover goes on top. 6 goes on bottom.
And you can still reduce it to 1/3.
Right. This part reduces to 1/3. So you have 125 1/3. Okay, which is D. Okay, 73. 1 plus 3 and 1/8. Okay, you don't have to have a number here to add 1/8 to. If it was subtract, you would need a number there. You say 0/8 plus 1/8 is 1/8. Okay? 0/8 plus 1/8 is 1/8. 1 plus 3 is 4. I'm sorry, didn't have that where you can say it good. 1/8, 0 plus 1 is 1/8, and 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 and 1/8. Okay? This one, even though it's sideways, go ahead and, well, I guess you could leave it sideways, it's got a common denominator. You have 3 and 9/11 plus 5 and 7/11. I still like to write it up and down. Okay? You got 9/11 plus 7/11. 9 plus 7, 16/11. Then you have 5 plus 3
8.
is the 8. Okay, 16/11 is more than 1. Okay?
So you add
16
one
divided
more.
by 11 is 1,
So it would be 9.
and you have 5 left over.
So 9, 5, 11.
1 and 5/11. This part is 1 and 5/11. So you do 8 plus 1 and 5/11. So that gives you the 9 and 5/11. Which is B. 9 and 5/11. Okay, 75, you need a common denominator. 75, you have 2 and 5/6 plus 16 and 1/7. You're adding. Okay, what is your common denominator? 6 and 7.
42.
6 times 7 is 42. 7 is times 6, and the 6 would be times 7. Okay, so this is 42, that 1 times 6 is 6. 5 times 7 is 35. Okay, we're adding 35 plus 6,
41.
41 over
42.
42. Okay, we have 2 plus 16, 18. And this is almost 42, but it's not more, so we don't have to convert it or anything. 18 and 41 over 42. Okay, 76. We have 3 numbers. They all have the 7th on the bottom, so we don't have to worry about common denominator. We have 5 plus 1 is 6 plus 4. is 10. So the fractions add up to 10 sevenths, 13, 12, and 19.
44.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 1, 2, 3, 4. 44 and 10 sevenths. We need to convert 10 sevenths.
You can add one more.
Okay, it goes how many times?
1, 3 left over.
1 times 7 is 7, 3 left over. 3, the leftover goes on top, 7 on bottom.
45.
So this is 1 and 3 sevenths. 44 plus 1 and 3 sevenths. It's 45 and 3 sevenths. So there it is right there. Okay, the next one does not have a common denominator. We have 3, 7, and 7.
We use common denominator as 21.
21. We have 1 1/3, 15 and 4 sevenths, and then 5 sevenths. We're going to use the common denominator of 21. The sevens will be times 3. 7 times 3, so we do the top times 3 also. The 3, the 3 was times 7. Okay, so we got the first number is 1 times 7 is 7. Our second fraction, 4 times 3, is 12. Third fraction, 5 times 3, 15. So now we have 7, 8, 9, and 5 is 14. 1, 2, 3.
34.
34 over 21. Then our whole numbers. There's no number here, so just 50 and 1 is 16. 34 over 21 is improper, so we do 34 divided by 21. One time, 1 times 21. Subtract, 4 minus 1 is 3. So we have 13 left over. Goes on top, 21 stays on bottom. Okay, so this is what 34, 21 is 1 and 13 over 21. So we have 16 plus 1 is 13 over 21. So we have 17 and 13 over 21. Okay, so that should be one of our answers, 17 and 13 over 21. 78, we have a common denominator. Now instead of adding, we're subtracting. We have 16 and 5/19 minus 2 and 1/19. Okay, fractions first. 5/19 minus 1/19. 4/19. 5 minus 1. 16 minus 2? 14. This won't reduce, will it? So we have 14 and 4/19, which is D. 79. We have, there was 26 1/4 yards of wire on the spool. Then after a customer bought 8 3/8, there was this much on there, and after he bought 8 3/8, how many yards were left? So what are we going to do?
Subtract.
Subtract. 26 1/4 was on there, and they bought 8 3/8. Common denominator, 8. 8. So this, the bottom stayed the same. It's still a 3 there. Okay, 4 is times 2. 1 times 2 gives you 2. Okay, you got 2 8s minus 3 8s.
5 8.
Minus,
subtract.
You gotta borrow from 26.
yeah, we need to borrow. 2 is not enough to subtract 3 from. We need to borrow, make this 25, put our 1 as a whole number. Don't make it 12, make it 1 and 2 8s. Okay? 8 times 1
8.
is 8 plus 2
is 10.
Now we have 10/8. 10 minus 3,
7/8.
7/8. 25 minus 8, 17. And that will not reduce. So we have 17 and 7/8 yards left. 17 and 7/8 yards left. Let's see. Okay, number 80, we're multiplying. 4 1/2 times 4. Okay, before we multiply, we need to change them to improper. Don't, if you have like mixed numbers, don't do fraction times fraction and whole number times whole number. You need to make them improper. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 2 stays on the bottom. Okay. 4 is what?
4/1.
4/1. You can do some reducing before you multiply. The 2 and 4, you could divide by 2. Divide by 2, divide by 2. 9 times 2,
18.
18/1 is the same as
18.
18. Okay, 81. Don't try to multiply fractions and whole numbers. Turn them to improper, right? Okay, so the 4 and 3 stay on the bottom. Okay, 4 times 3, 12, plus 3 is 15. 3 times 10, 30, plus 2, 32. Okay, now before we do these big multiplying of like 15 times 32, we want to do some dividing first, right? Divide 3 here, divide by 3 is 1, divide by 3 is 5. These would divide by 4. Divide by 4 is 1, divide by 4 is 8. So now we have 5 times 8 on top is 40. 1 times 1, 1 on bottom, so that's just 40. So that's, A is 40. 82, we have a division. Okay, don't be doing any canceling or anything till we have it into a multiply problem. 24 divided by 6 2/3. Keep it as a division so far. Turn this into improper. 3 times 6 is 18 plus 2. 20/3. Turn this into 24/1. Okay, now, you always leave the first one. Leave it 24/1. Turn this into multiply by the reciprocal. Put 3 on top, put the 20 on the bottom. Okay, now, before we multiply those numbers, what do we want to do? I mean, divide.
Divide.
Divide what we can. So what can we divide by? 4. 4?
4.
4 is 5, divide by 4, 6. And that's all we can divide, right?
Yeah.
6 times 3,
18.
18, 1 times 5.
5.
We need to change that into the mixed number.
3 times 8.
18 divided by 5, 3. 3 times 5,
15. 3 left.
15, subtract, 3 left over. What do we do with 3?
Put it on top.
Put it on
On top. And the 5 stays on bottom. 3 3/5, which is B. Okay, the next one, another division. 2 4/5 divided by 7. 2 4/5 divided by 7. Turn those into fractions first. So this one, 5 stays on bottom. 5 times 2 plus 4, 14. This is a fraction is 7/1. We're dividing by 7/1. So we need to flip it. Multiply by the reciprocal. You always leave the first one. Don't do anything with that first one, once you have it improper. Flip it, have 1/7. Now what are we gonna do?
Cross divide.
Divide here, right? Divide by 7, divide by 7. 2. 2 times 1,
2,
5 times 1,
5.
that's as far as you can go, 2/5. And so that answer is B. 84. A small company sells stock for 9 5/8 per share. It's 9 point something, right? $9 something. How much will 152 shares cost? Well, if it was like $10 a share, you do $10 times how many you bought, right? So we're going to do how much it cost times how many you bought. 9 5/8 times the 152. So turn this into an improper fraction. 8 times 9, 72 plus 5, that's 77. This, we just put it over 1. 152 stays over 1. Okay, you could probably divide. For sure we could divide by 2, right? Let's divide by 2, we get 4. 152 divided by 2, 76. Or we could divide by 4. We could have divided by 8, I just couldn't see it. So we can keep dividing. You don't have to just limit it to one time. So let's divide by 4 now. Divide by 4 is 1. This is almost 20. 20 times 4 is 80. So it's 1 less, which is 19. Okay, we have 1s on bottom, so we're done with the dividing thing. Now we have 77 times 19. 77 times 19. 9 times 7, 63. 63 plus 6, 69, right? 0, 1 times 7, and then 1 times 7 again. Keep these lined up good. 9 plus 7 is 16, and that's 14, right? So it costed you $1,463, $1,463 for 152 shares. And there it is right there. Answer D. Number 85. Okay. A statistician has readings that take him 1 2/3 of a minute each. Okay. How many readings can be completed in 120 minutes? Well, let's say, what if it took 2 minutes? Yeah. If it took 2 minutes and you did 120 divided by 2, you could do 60. That makes sense, right? So somewhere around 60 should be your answer, right? If you kind of estimated it. For about 2 minutes, it would have been about 60 readings. So let's go ahead and do the work. We can guess probably the closest one is 72. But let's go ahead and do the work. We're taking how much time we have divided by how long it takes for each task, divided by 1 2/3. So we have 120 divided by, we need to turn this to an improper. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5/3. Okay, after you do that, what do? Multiply by the reciprocal, right? Leave the first one, multiply by the reciprocal. 3 on top, 5 on bottom. Can we do some dividing?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so 5, right? Divide by 5. Divide by 5 is 1. Divide by 5 is 24. 24 times 3 is 72, what we guessed it probably would be. So you could do 72 readings in 120 minutes. Okay, 86, the dimensions of a rectangular mural on the wall of Amy's bedroom are 2 1/3 feet by 3 2/5 feet. What is the area of the mural? A rectangular mural. Okay, we have a rectangular mural, 2 1/3 by 3 2/5. How do you find the area? Length times width, right? The area of a rectangle is the length times the width. It doesn't matter which order, so you can put either one first. Okay, 3 and 5 are going to stay on the bottom. We need to turn those to improper. 3 times 2, 6 plus 1, 7. 5 times 3, 15 plus 2, 17. Is there anything we can divide there? No, okay. So the bottom is 15, the top is 7 times 17. 7, 49, 7, 8, 19, 11. 119 over 15. Okay, we need to turn it to a mixed number. Put the 119 under the division, dividing by 15. 30, 60, 90, at least 6 or 7 times. Let's do 15 times 6. There's 30, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's do 15 times 7. 35, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we're not going to be able to put another 15. It'll be too much. So 15 times 7 is 105.
There's 14 left over.
14 left over. So 14 on top, 15 goes on bottom. And this was feet times feet. So this is how many square feet the area of the mural is, that many square feet that it took up on the wall. 7 and 14/15 square feet. Okay, 89. Oh, that was 86, 87. 87 is going to use this recipe here. Okay? Find the amount of vanilla needed if the recipe is halved. How are you going to halve something? You're dividing it by 2, which is the same as
2 over 1.
multiplying it by 1/2. So we could multiply it by half. Okay, the vanilla is what we need. So how much vanilla? Up here it says 1 1/2 teaspoons of vanilla for one recipe. So 1 1/2 teaspoons, we want to half it. So 1 1/2 times a half. Dividing it by 2 or timesing it by a half. Same thing. Okay, 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1, 3 on top, right? The 2 stay on the bottom. And we've already changed this to multiply, so we don't have to do any dividing or anything. No division we can do. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 4, 2 times 2 is 4. 3/4 what?
Teaspoon.
This was teaspoons of vanilla. So 3/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla. 3/4 of a teaspoon was 8. Simplify. Number 88, we have division, and then division again. 9 divided by 3, and then divided by 4. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 divided by 4, 3/4. Okay, so it's just 3/4. Now we have a subtraction and then an addition. I'm getting tired. We won't have it that long, sorry. You want me to give you the test in two parts where you can take half of it and then leave and take a break and then take the other half? It's kind of long. Do a two-part test, but it's all just one grade. We could do that. Okay, because you shouldn't leave in the middle of a test, but if it's long, you're going to need a break. So 8.5 minus 3 1/3. We're doing this part, and then we're going to do that, okay? First, we're going to do the subtraction. We need a common denominator of 6, right? This is times 2, and this one is times 3. Okay, the top is 3, 1 times 2 is 2. 3 6 minus 2 6?
1 6.
1 6. 8 minus 3?
5.
5. Now we still have to do this part. We have to add 1 1/4. Okay? We still have to add the 1 1/4 to our answer. Common denominator. You could do 24, but 12 will be shorter, yeah. 12 is the smallest one. So do times 3 where the 4 is, times 2 where the 6 is. Okay, the top one, 1 times 2 is 2. Bottom, 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, we're adding, so it's okay that the top's smaller. 2 twelfths plus 3 twelfths,
5 12.
5 twelfths, 5 plus 1,
6.
6. So we got a total of 6 and 5 twelfths. Okay, number 90. We've got a division and then a subtraction. We have 5 sevenths divided by 5 eighths and then subtract 6 sevenths.
2 seconds.
Subtract 6 sevenths, okay. So first, we have to do the division. Remember our order of operations? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. We don't have anything in parentheses or exponents, but the multiply and divide. We have this division. Let's rewrite this where we multiply by the reciprocal. We have 5 sevenths times 8 fifths. We're going to write that, but we're not going to do it yet. This part we're doing first. Divide by 5, right? So we have 8 over 7. 1 times 8, and then 7 times 1. 8 sevenths minus 6 sevenths. Thank goodness there's a common denominator, huh? 8 sevenths minus 6 sevenths? 2 sevenths. And you're done. The answer's right there. Okay, this one, what do we have to do first? We have 11 twelfths minus 1/2 times 1 3/5. We have to multiply first. So turn them to improper if they're not already. Or to a fraction, whatever. This one's not improper, but we leave it. Times, leave the 5 on bottom. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. Now we're doing this part. What can we do? Divide by 2, right? Okay, we still have the 11 twelfths here. Minus what? 1 times 4? 4. 1 times 5? 5. We need a common denominator. Okay, 5 and 12 go into 60. That's 5 times 12. This is times 5. This one is times 12. So 11 times 5 is 55. 4 times 12?
48.
48. 55 minus 48.
7.
Right. 7 60ths. Okay, this one, 7 60ths right there. Okay. The rest of them, you want to do all the way to 95? You wanna go ahead and keep doing them, or y'all wanna do them on your own? You could do those on your own. These three right here, 96 through 98, are average. That means you have to add them up and divide by how many, just like you do your grades. So you would do here 1/3 plus 1/8. After you got that answer, you divide it by 2. Or you would actually be multiplying it by 1/2, right? Same thing. So that answer, you'll do it times 1/2 to get the average. This one, you'll add these three numbers. You'll add, and then you will divide it by 3, which is the same as timesing it by 1/3, right? To get the average on this, because there's 3 numbers. There's 2 numbers here, so you add them up, divide by 2, same as multiplying by 1/2. Okay? So that's how you get the average. 99, average of 4. You're averaging those 4 numbers. So you divide by 4 or multiply it by 1/4 after you add them. Estimate as 0, 1/2, or 1. If it's tiny, make it 0. 100, you would go to 0. This is almost half of 11, so go to a half. This is almost all of 29, so go to 1. Okay, estimate, but where you make it, where it's close to a half, is it, if it's half of it or more, like this one's almost a whole, make this one, it's 17 and 33 over 34, go all the way to 18. This one is almost nothing, so 7 plus nothing is just 7. 105, you have 315 divided by 3, and nothing would just be dividing it by 3. So if you divide that by 3, you get 105. Okay? And when you're doing the problems that we did not do, 92 through 95, if you can't get that answer, keep checking back to make sure you're doing the right order. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Make sure you do multiply and divide from left to right, and you add and subtract from left to right. If you don't get it right, that's probably, you probably did something out of order. You probably added or subtracted before you did all your multiply and divide. Okay? So there's your work to study. You can study it or not. It's up to you. And I'll try to make it into a 2-part test so you can take a break.